You are 34. You are standing at a jewelry counter you have stood at before. The glass case in front of you holds a watch with a price tag of $11,200. You are not buying it today either. You came in to sell something instead. The man behind the counter takes the envelope from your hand, slides out the paper inside, reads the number, and looks up at you differently than he did 30 seconds ago. You are not here for the watch. You are here because of the watch you never bought. This is your life with a bare wrist for 12 years. They'll offer your 22 Friday, June, a promotion or your first real one, title and a raise stapled to a handshake. Your father takes you to dinner. He hands you a small box across the table. Inside is his old watch, a Seiko scratched crystal, leather band cracked at the fold. He says, "This isn't the one. This is just to start you thinking." He says a man should own one good watch by 30. He says it the way men say things they were told and never questioned. You wear the Seiko home. It keeps time fine. It tells nobody anything. That weekend, your co-worker Tyler shows up to a barbecue wearing a watch that costs more than your car. He holds his wrist out without being asked. He says, "Tudor, just got it. You should treat yourself, man. You just got promoted." You look at the Seiko on your wrist. You say nothing. That night, you sit at your kitchen table. You do the math on a napkin. The price of Tyler's watch invested instead for 30 years. The number is large enough that you fold the napkin twice. You put it in a drawer. You do not know it yet, but the napkin will outlast the watch. The first mockery, you're 24. The Seiko has a new scratch you don't remember getting. Monday, the office. Tyler leans against your desk and looks down at your wrist. He says, "Bro, is that your dad's watch?" You say yes. Tyler laughs, not cruelly, just loud. He says, "You're killing me. You make good money now. Buy a watch that says something." You say the Seiko says something. Tyler says, "It says your dad shops at Sears." The desks around you laugh. You laugh too because the alternative is worse. At lunch, you eat alone at your desk and look at the Seiko under the fluorescent light. It is not embarrassing to you. It is embarrassing to the room. That is a different problem, and you cannot solve it with a watch. That evening, your brother Eli calls. Eli's 21, 4 months into his first job. Eli says, "I got a Rolex, date just. Financed it, 36 months, no big deal." You ask if he can afford the payment. Eli says, "Bro, you sound like dad." You hang up and sit with the Seiko on your wrist. The wrist is still bare, not literally. Bare the way Tyler means it. You do not know it yet, but Eli's watch is already worth more to him than the money he doesn't have. The pity, you're 26. The Seiko's band has been replaced twice. The original leather gone soft and dark. A wedding, your cousin's open bar, a string quartet outside. Your aunt finds you near the gift table. She looks at your wrist, and her face does something gentle and sad. She says, "Honey, your father's watch is lovely, sentimental." She pats your arm. She says, "If money's tight, you know we're here." You say it's not tight. She says, "It's okay if it is." She walks away before you can correct her again. At the bar, Tyler's friend, a man you've met twice, looks at your wrist and says, "Heritage piece, respect." He means it as a compliment for old money, not as the truth, which is just an old man's watch on a young man's arm. You do not correct him either. That night, Eli posts a photo of the Rolex catching the light at the reception. 41 likes in an hour. Your photo of the cake gets 6. You sit in your car in the venue parking lot. You have $96,000 in savings. Nobody at that wedding knows that number. They know the watch. The watch is lying to all of them, and you are the only one who knows it. You are 28. You are dating Mia, a teacher, careful with money in a way you recognize. A Saturday, a gallery opening Mia's friend is hosting, the kind of room with good lighting and bad small talk. A man in a navy blazer shakes your hand too long and glances at your wrist on the way down, the way men check a watch before they decide how to talk to you. His eyes move past the Seiko fast, like it isn't worth finishing the thought. He turns and gives the rest of his attention to someone wearing a Patek. Mia notices. Later in the car, she says, "That guy was something." You say which one. She says, "The one who looked at your watch and basically left." You laugh it off. She doesn't laugh. She says quieter, "Does that bother you, people doing that?" You think about Tyler, your aunt, the man in the blazer. You say, "It used to." She takes your hand, the one with the Seiko on it, and holds it on the console between you. She doesn't say anything else. You do not know it yet, but this is the night the doubt starts losing. You're 30. The Seiko needed a new movement last year, $80 at a shop run by a man named Walter, who has fixed watches for 40 years. You picked it up today. Walter hands it back across the counter and says, "Good watch. People don't make them feel like this anymore." You say it's just a Seiko. Walter looks at you the way Marcus once looked at a Corolla that wouldn't die. He says, "I've had men in here with $30,000 watches that have never been wound once. This one's been worn every day for 8 years. That's the only kind of expensive that means anything." He doesn't charge you for the cleaning. He says, "Tell your father he raised you right." You drive home with the Seiko ticking against your wrist, the second hand sweeping clean now. That night, you check the account you started with the napkin math, $214,000. You do not show anyone the number. You do not need to anymore. The rule sits with you quietly. A watch doesn't tell time. It tells a room who you think you are, and you stop needing the room to know the reveal. You are 34. You're at the jewelry counter, the one from the beginning, selling Eli's old Rolex on his behalf because he asked you to and couldn't face doing it himself. Eli is 33 now. He came over last week, sat on your couch, and told you he owes $61,000 across 2 cards, a personal loan, and the remainder on a watch he financed 11 years ago and never finished paying off. He said, "How did you not want one this whole time?" You didn't have a clean answer for him, so you told him about the napkin and Walter and the count of likes that didn't matter as much as he thought they did. The jeweler weighs the Rolex, checks the papers, and offers $7,400, less than half what Eli owes on it. You take the offer because Eli asked you to. You drive to his apartment and hand him the check. He stares at it. He says, "I thought it would be worth more." You say, "Most things people buy for the room are." That night you go home and open the same drawer. The napkin is still there, soft at the folds now, the number on it long since outgrown by the real one. The Seiko is on your wrist. It has never once told anyone you'd made it. It has just kept time every day while the money it didn't cost you became $310,000, sitting somewhere quiet, doing something the room never saw. Somewhere right now, someone is standing in front of a glass case looking at a watch they cannot afford, doing math they don't want to finish. A coworker is about to ask them why they don't just treat themselves. They don't know yet that the watch was never the question. The question was what they'd let an empty wrist say about them and whether they had the nerve to let it say nothing at all. The wrist is still bare. Maybe you're the one who left it that way. Maybe you're Eli. Either way, there's a glass case waiting somewhere, and what you do in front of it is up to you.